Let's discuss the retirement equation. In retirement, there are some things you can control and other things that are completely out of your control. Make the most of the things you can control. Saving and spending, asset allocation, asset location. Consider those areas where you have some control. Employment earnings and duration. You could always postpone retirement and work a little longer. Longevity. I doubt you can guesstimate when you're actually going to exit this world, but if you practice good healthcare management, you should be able to live a little bit longer life. And then it's important to stress test your financial plan and apply risk mitigation tactics to those areas that are outside and beyond your control, like market returns. Nobody can control what the stock market's going to do at any point in time, but we can manage risk there. And then policy regarding taxation, savings, and benefits. Is Trump's tax plan really going to work as he's proposing? As far as Social Security goes, is that going to exist? And to what extent 20 years from today, 40 years from today? So we need to apply some risk mitigation techniques to those stressor kind of events.
Now, Mark, that's why it's so important to have a financial plan in place. Because it's a financial plan, but there's, guess what, inside of that financial plan? Planning. Basically things that you need to do to be successful. That plan is going to give you information that, you just can't make up on your own or wing it. The last thing you want to do is do the yellow pad financial plan at your kitchen table and say like, oh, I got a portfolio this size and I'm set.
Yeah, the yellow pad financial plans typically don't work too well.
No,
right?
No.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the biggest errors or issues we see when people are giving us information and we're entering the stuff into the plan. Where are some of the biggest roadblocks to us being able to provide a good, valuable, accurate plan?
Biggest area of concern that I see with the financial plan starts with the budget.
Yep.
You would not believe how many people don't know what they spend. They have no idea what they spend their money on.
And they almost always underestimate it.
They underestimate it, and here's the key. If you get that number wrong, all the numbers are off.
Right.
Everything's off the table.
Yeah, well, when they're putting together the budget and they had to replace their roof that last year, they always subtract out replacing the roof. What they don't realize is next year you're going to have to replace some plumbing. The year after that, you're going to have to replace the carpet. Those really are recurring expenses, right? And you have to build that into the budget. But, that's a huge thing that always gets left out. Let's talk a little bit about what the plan really provides quantitatively for the client. I think the most important takeaway, and tell me if you agree, is the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, that gives you the percentage of success. Experts say that, if a Monte Carlo is over 70%, you're going to have a really good retirement, and 7 out of 10 times you're going to have money at last life expectancy. However, with our clients, we want to make sure that we're a little bit more conservative, and we want to look at 80% and above. That's where we feel comfortable.
Well, we have to, because we've put together financial plans for people that started at a 68 Monte Carlo. And then all of a sudden, they're trying to save money here and there. They're selling their grandkids to try and make a little extra money. They finally get to 70, and then they hand in their retirement papers. And when they come back next year for our automated plan refresh, what normally happens to their score?
It normally goes down.
Exactly.
Something changed. They actually took the budget part seriously. And like you said before, they underestimated it. Now they're like, oh man, I started tracking this for a year. I spent $10,000 more. I didn't even know I did that.
Right.
And that's what cripples a plan. So doing it right the first time and spending the time to do it. Don't take it lightly.
Right. So the Monte Carlo, basically, it's giving us the success score, assuming everything works according to plan. Right? So then I think it's really important to take it a step further and run some Monte Carlos on the different stress tests. I think the number one most important stress test is what we call the bear market stress test, right? And that's where, let's assume that all of the expected returns in the future you actually realize, but you just picked the wrong year to retire, because the year you retire, the market's down 20% that year. Now what happens to your success rate? You were an 80% before, now you're a 50. Now your plan's a failure, right? So what can we do to either protect your investment account, or what can we do to make up that difference so that if you pick the wrong year to retire, your plan's still a success? Beyond that, what are some of the other stress tests that you think are valuable?
A lot of people, they have an idea when they want to retire. So maybe they'll pick 63, 65, things like that. Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know the hard number?
Yeah.
And what if your target was 65 and I came back and said, guess what? You can retire at 63. The way that you save money and spend money, you're going to have a successful plan. Or let's flip that and say, you want to retire at 65 and I have to come with some bad news and say, you're going to be better off retiring at 67. What do you got to do now? You got to, save more, spend less, combination of the two. So understanding what's going on and building those what-if scenarios is key.
Yeah.
Just having a Monte Carlo, that's good. It's a great baseline. But wouldn't you want to know specifics about your situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the last thing I want to add with regards to financial plans is I don't like the word financial plan, because what it really signifies is a deliverable, right? And a lot of people, when they say they want a financial plan, it's all about the deliverable, that big fat binder that they get. And it's really about planning, not a plan, but planning. And it's important to continue to update that plan year after year after year, because life happens.
Yeah, things change.
Yeah, things change. And as those things change, we need to make sure that we can reroute and recalibrate and let our clients know if there's potentially a problem before they even know that there might be a problem.
Exactly.
So for those of you who don't know, here's what a Monte Carlo is. So whenever a financial plan is put together, certain assumptions have to be made. Let's say there's a 5.5% return that's assumed in the plan. Do you really think you're going to get 5.5% year after year after year? It's not going to happen that way. One year you might get a 10%, the next year you get a -5, then you get a 12, then you get an 8. So there's some variance amongst the returns that you should expect to receive. The Monte Carlo understands that. So what it does is it applies variables to your plan, and it runs thousands and thousands of simulations to figure out, is your plan going to work under any and all conditions? It then gives us a score. So if it gives us a score of 70, that means that in 70% of all of those trials that were run, you still had money left over at last life expectancy. How well are you managing your wealth? Are you taking advantage of all opportunities that are available to you? Just as it makes sense to have regular physical checkups to make sure you're maintaining optimal health, it also makes sense to do a regular checkup on your financial situation. Our Wealthalize tool will provide you with that diagnostic. Simply complete our online questionnaire in under 15 minutes. Our proprietary software will analyze your investment strategy, tax situation, asset protection, estate planning, charitable giving, and your professional relationships. You'll immediately receive a score ranging from 0 to 100, which assesses your situation. Additionally, you'll receive a SWOT analysis, which identifies your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that could impact your wealth management. Visit today, www.wealthalize.com.